Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for BroadwayWorld. The latest from Roundabout Theatre Company is a new production of Sophie Treadwell's 1928 play, Machinal. Under the direction of Lyndsey Turner, it welcomes to Broadway Rebecca Hall, along with Michael Cumpsty, Morgan Spector, and Suzanne Bertish. It will open on January 16th, and I'm here at the American Airlines Theatre, where I caught up with the company. So this is like, you've had 1 week of rehearsal so far, right?
I know. So, I mean, we're just at the forensic stage, where we're digging and finding out background, finding out background story, which is I don't think audiences realize well, it isn't every rehearsal process, but certainly with the good directors, you have to work out so much. You have to be like a private detective. I mean, with Shakespeare you do. Because all you have is what you have on the page. I mean, what is the story of Gertrude? When did her first husband die? All those questions. You have to bring all that onto the stage because it's got to be in you. So we're at the very early stages.
Well, I hear you have a brilliant director. Talk about the director so far.
Well, I saw her extraordinary production in London of Chimerica. And she is, I think, a superb director because she's holding so many things in her hand, and she showed us this chart the other day of the transitions between the scenes of what might be happening, and said it took her 80 hours to work out this chart. That's a lot of time, and she's great at the helm.
And talk about this role. Did you know the play very well before you started on this?
I didn't. I saw it. Stephen Daldry did a production at the National with Fiona Shaw, and I saw it. And I remember the set. I don't really remember anything from it. I mean, the challenge for all of us is going to be to do this expressionistic play and to bring heart to it, so that as an audience member, you're not just observing it, it's not just at one remove, but you are connected to it. And that is our challenge, to find that balance.
How excited are you to be working on this play?
I'm pretty excited. I think it's a unique opportunity. There's not gonna be anything like this on Broadway this season, and I don't think there's been anything like this on Broadway for a while. I think Lyndsey Turner's vision is really exciting, and I think it's a wonderful company. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. Did you know the play well at all when you heard about this?
I didn't. Well, I had done a couple of readings with the Roundabout of this play over the last couple of years because I think they've been really trying to get it on Broadway. But so I knew it from that. But prior to that, I didn't know it.
So reading the play and working on it, I know it's very early in the rehearsal process. Mm-hmm. What do you love about the writing, and what do you love about the play?
Well, I think. I love the play's critique of the world that we're living in, and I also love the language, and I love that she doesn't give herself. There's nothing easy about these characters. There's nothing simple. There's nothing reduced down. These are sort of like they're definitely as much as the style of the play makes these characters makes each moment very clear. They're also like fully fleshed out, like messy people, and so that's exciting too.
Let's talk about working with your director so far. Mm-hmm. I mean, her whole vision for the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's. It's been a long time since I was in a room with somebody who has as nimble and exciting intelligence as she has, and she gave a sort of design and concept presentation on this play, and we all just sat there. A couple of people were. It was dazzling. We walked out and all had to smoke a cigarette because it was like Anyway, but yeah, she just. She's not messing about in any way, and she, in terms of, it really is going to be an ensemble creative piece. It's the way we're sort of speaking to the stylistic aspect of the play is I think, sort of by having these sort of creating these sort of naturalistic moments in between the scenes that will have a sort of poetic resonance with what has just happened and what is about to happen, and I think that she's constructed those moments really precisely and really beautifully. So among other things. It's going to be, the set's gorgeous. It's going to be an amazing piece.
This is a really amazing play, and the thing I like about it most is that it is a play about what happens when somebody is forced to conform and standardize, and when their ability to sort of be contemplative and to be connected is crushed. And yet, the playwright doesn't create these stick-figure villains around the victim and make it into a kind of standard, kind of robotic metropolis kind of thing. She writes really, really decent human people who are trying to connect and who fail because of the circumstances of their existence. And so it's exciting, and it's deeply human, and it's sad because of what happens. It's based on the story of a woman who killed her husband. The play doesn't suggest we all have to end up killing our partners, but you see at every step of the way the mistake that has been made or the failure to connect, and the play itself is incredibly life affirming, because at every moment you can say that can be avoided, that can be avoided, So while it's a play about a very dark story, the thing itself is going to be very affirmational, I think. The director is brilliant and really exciting, and the technological, the vision she has for how it's going to work technologically is going to be almost what we would associate with the technological requirements of a big musical. It's going to be quite remarkably beautiful, I think.
You've had a week already, right, in the rehearsal room. What's that been like, and what was that first table read like for you?
The first table read was very exciting because, I admire Rebecca Hall very much, Morgan Spector very much, Suzanne Bertish, and and it is a remarkable company. The play is very exciting. The director is one of those people who just makes your eyes spin. She is so brilliant. She is so widely read and has studied so much on the subjects around the play that she talks, and you can see it's all in her head. Not only does she have the creative and imaginative aspect going on, she's a brilliant manager. She's a really extraordinary administrator. So we're all just kind of like, we're sort of in the hands of God. It's wild. We're all feeling very impressed and intimidated by this kind of genius person we find ourselves working with. Really remarkable.
What are you thinking so far about your debut? Tell me.
Well, I'm thinking that I have to stop thinking about it being a Broadway debut, because it's a job like any other, and it's a piece of theatre like any other, and the play's the important thing. What I am genuinely excited about is the possibility to bring this play to the attention of people in a way that it has not really entirely. It hasn't been on Broadway since 1928, and it is an extraordinary piece of drama and deserves to be more than a footnote in various anthologies about American theatre history. I'm very excited about that, and I'm excited that I get to do it, and in the city that it's set in. So that's kind of, a thrill.
I did all the history on this too. I had no idea how old the play was, that it had never been done since the original. What attracted you to the play itself and this role?
It's difficult to explain, but it's a very sort of visceral reaction to a piece of writing. It occurs to me that from the moment that Ruth Snyder was executed to the moment that the play came into copyright was only 4 months. Now, whereas it's not entirely about Ruth Snyder, it is in response to that event, and it feels like a sort of guttural primal scream, as it were, that just comes flowing out of her in those 4 months. And there's a sort of immediacy to the writing and a sort of, a rawness to it that makes it incredibly powerful. And the first time I read it, I felt slightly like, there was something tightening around my esophagus. And I thought, if I can have that sort of emotional response to it, then, what's it going to be like for an audience if we get it right? It's just amazing. It's breathtaking. So that was it, really. It was easy. It was an easy decision to make.
Just the time period this play takes place in, and where women fit into the whole, into a man's world.
Yeah, there's. I think what's interesting about the play is that it's easy to sort of date it in the sense of like, well, weren't people terrible in the 1920s? But I think that's slightly missing the point, because there's a universality to it and a kind of humanity to it, and there aren't any bad guys in it. You know, everyone is culpable, and everyone's sort of oppressing this one person, and including herself. And it's sort of, it's a play about oppression and and the ordinary circumstances under which an ordinary woman in a society that's rigged a certain way can be led to commit murder, which is sort of a horrifying thought. But there's a humanity to that thought, as opposed to saying it's because there were lots of machines, or it's because there were lots of bad people, or like, in the 1920s. It's bigger than that.